It is 2 o'clock, so I would like to call the meeting to order. Please silence all cell phones and electronic devices. When speaking during the meeting, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and speak loudly and clearly. Thank you. Item number 1 on our agenda is approval of the agenda.
I will move it.
I'll second that. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 2-0. Item number 2, approval of the meeting minutes from November 5th, 2024.
Shane, is everything, you made a comment about the minutes before, is everything?
Karen has everything perfect.
Okay, then I would move them.
I second it. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, passes 2-0. Item number 3, approval of claims, and on that, I would call on Shane Albrecht from Baker Group, please.
Thanks, Ron. There's 4 bills this month. First one is from Sotic Enviri LLC, which is actually the Allen Inn, and that's for $799.25. And for everybody to remember, he's the damages/scheduling expert that we approved just for minimal calls with Jody. So again, that's for $799.25. We have a bill from Frederickson in the amount of $22,417.50. We also went through that. We did find out that there was something that was an error in there, but we did get that all corrected, so that is the right amount too, and I do recommend payment of that. We have a bill for October from Baker Group in the amount of $32,013. And we have a bill from UMB Bank. This is part of the tracking that they do. And this is for $500, and that's also approved. Grand total of bills is $55,729.75. Mark, I didn't have problems with the words. I had a lot of trouble with the numbers today.
You're doing great, Shane.
And I do recommend for the approval of that.
I'll move it.
I'll second that. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 2-0. All right, item number 4 on the agenda is our financial report, and I would call on the auditor-elect. For that, please.
Okay, so have them passing out the form there. I'm not sure when Dennis did these if he included the current claims on the report. So last week I did, which caused a problem because some of them were denied. So I did not include them on this week since the claims hadn't been approved yet. But I did include the one that was approved last week on here. So the only changes here is we have some revenue interest, and that claim was included in the beginning balance already. There is one thing that we were reviewing, the biannual payment of $200,000 hasn't been transferred, so I brought that to Heather's attention that that'll be entered, so that check will be approved at next week's board meeting, and then that'll be receipted into the maintenance fund for 756, so you should be seeing that if you have another meeting in a couple of weeks. And then the other thing is last week there was a claim that was denied that was to Allers and Cooney, that half of it related to a conversation, I believe, between Jody and John. So I didn't know if that should be split 50-50 or that should be discussed at a future meeting, but that claim has not been paid by the county nor the law enforcement authority. And I do have one more.
We used to always split them 50-50 when it was.
Did that go back to the lease discussion though?
Yes.
Yeah, so my recommendation would be we just split that 50-50 with authority covering half.
Oh, Jody, you gotta turn your mic on. Push the gray button there.
Push the button right there. The one that, no, right here, Jody. One that shows like you're talking.
There.
Thank you. Yeah, my recommendation would be we split that 50-50, county and us.
No, I would agree, and I think that that's what we had intended to do in those types of situations.
Okay, will that need to be entered then for future approval?
Yes.
Okay. And then the other, kind of back to the claims is, our process is that we enter these claims in advance, and I think they're being entered by building services. And we always have a signature from an authorized individual, which is not an approval to pay, but it's just a signature that these were approved by somebody to be entered. Those are no longer being approved, so is there someone that can be appointed as a designee to sign these forms so that we can update them and be prepared to pay them the day after the meetings?
I would say we probably either want you, Ron, or Shane, I suppose.
I suppose that should be me once they're approved.
This would be prior to approval, so we send the packet out through Karen, and we can have you sign this page at that time, so it comes back to us, because we review those and update them, so then when you approve them, we can pay them like that the next
So
day.
I just sign it and then email it back to Karen.
Yes.
Okay.
And I
Alright.
can just have you sign this one today,
Yeah.
just so that we have it on file.
That'd be fine. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
It's not on there because we're not approving it today. It's just a
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would like to ask a question of the auditor-elect, please.
I was gonna give it back to you. Thank you.
So this is all kind of a process that we don't know what we don't know until we get to it, okay? The authority is going to need to have a special meeting next Tuesday, hopefully that works for everybody, because the bond payment is due December 1st.
Oh, Shane, turn your mic on. Dan accidentally turned it off.
Gotcha. Sorry about that. So the authority is going to have a special meeting next week on the 26th. And the reason for that meeting is going to be to approve the bond payment. Normally, what had happened before, we shouldn't say normally, what had happened in the past was that money was already shown in our account because the county gave us the money ahead of time. And then Dennis, just to be ready for the payments, so we would approve the payment usually at our last meeting before the 1st, to be paid on the 1st. So right now, the next bond payment is due on December 1st. So you have to have a special meeting on the 26th to make that bond payment. But before that bond payment's made, the county has to give the money to the authority for the bond payment. And that normally shows in our, it literally lives there for just a few minutes before
Yep.
you cut a check. So is that process in place?
That's something that if Dennis did, and there's things you're aware of, you need to get a hold of me as soon as you know these things so that we can make sure it happens. I, was not trained by Dennis. If there's something you're aware of that occurs, then yes, let me know and I'll research it and make sure that it happens. A journal entry can happen and the money can be in there immediately. So don't hold up approving a claim based on a journal entry that needs to be made.
Okay. So we're going to need to have, for everybody's knowledge, in the financial and bill paying stuff, we're going to need to have a meeting next Tuesday. Should be a very quick meeting, but you need to approve those bond payments before the December 1st deadline. Okay? Thank you.
Okay.
So question for the other authority members, that meeting, do we want to plan it at the 2 o'clock timeline, or do we want to go to 3 o'clock, or how do you want to handle that?
2 o'clock's fine with me.
I can make whatever work.
2 o'clock then. All right, so that meeting will be at 2 o'clock.
What date?
The
Next?
26th.
A week from today.
Okay, because it's a holiday and, if this needs to be done before Thanksgiving, then that's another issue because normally we do the approvals. That's next, wait, which day is it?
So
Tuesday?
26th is Tuesday.
Okay.
The 28th is Thanksgiving that you're
Yes.
concerned about, because you usually run checks, I think, on Thursday, right?
We run them on Wednesday mornings. so-
Wednesday morning?
Yeah.
So will you be okay with that? Because I
Yeah.
assume you get Thursday and Friday off for Thanksgiving?
Yes, we have a short week. We've got payroll and claims, but we can make it work. Yeah.
Because the deadline on it's December 1st.
Yeah,
so
we need to make that.
I think December 1st is Saturday, unfortunately, or Sunday, whatever date that is.
Right, and I think we've had issues with that before, cutting it close because of the holidays and the mail time, so we'll have to make sure that that's coded appropriately so that it's not going to our third party for payment because there'll be a delay of them receiving it.
So would we be better off, in your opinion, to try to have a special meeting yet this week? Because we can do one.
Yeah.
We could literally
That's
do
what I
a
was just
meeting
gonna
this
ask, yeah.
Thursday. Right now, it's coded by Ryan for payment on the 26th. I don't know what that does to you, because I don't understand that side.
Well, it's mail time, that you're mailing a check to somebody expecting them to receive it when there's a couple of holidays in that frame. And I know that we've cut it to the wire for a couple of years in a row. I mean, there's no reason why we can't mail it, earlier. So if you want to have a meeting this week, then you can ensure that it's
So, I
going to
mean,
get there
if we-
on time with no penalties.
Yeah.
So if we called the meeting this Thursday at 2 o'clock, Dan, I know that,
I think I got a conflict that day, but I'll have to check.
Would you?
I mean,
Is Friday too late?
Well, if all we're doing is approving that 200,000 for the bond, it just takes two of us not to do,
Right, that's what I was gonna say.
cut you out,
Two of
Dan.
us
The
could
only
do
thing
that.
I have is from probably 1 to 3, so I would need to be either before that or after that on Thursday. I got it.
So you're gonna do 2 o'clock Thursday?
No, he needs to be before
how
that.
about 3 o'clock on Thursday? Does that work?
No, that doesn't work. So you want to do it at 11 in the morning?
That would be better, yeah.
All right, so we'll be doing a meeting then on the
Or even first thing, it
21st.
doesn't matter to me.
21st at 11 o'clock,
Sure.
okay?
Does that,
I'll be out of town, but I'll make sure that it gets done in the office. So, yeah.
Thank you.
If you approve that, we can make that happen.
Great, thank you.
do I need to say something different to Ryan? Because he has it set up for a packet for the 26th. Do I need to?
Yep, let him know what the approval date will be. He'll have to change some dates in there, and he knows how to do that, so.
Okay.
And just make sure that he enters it code 10 so that we issue the check in-house to mail it instead of through a vendor. We can also FedEx, so if it needs to be expedited, we can do that.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Michelle.
All right, so we'll need to get an agenda to Karen to set up for that meeting on the 21st at 11 then,
Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah,
So tomorrow
Okay.
we'll have to.
I'll be down here.
okay, all right. You'll be able to be here. I'll be here. All right, we're good. All right. Motion on the financial report?
It's just
Oh, all right, it's information only, okay, we're good, all right. Item number 5, discussion and action on Baker Group's contract, and I'd call on Shane Albrecht for that, please.
Thanks, Ron. I have a document I'd like to pass out, if we could enter that into
Okay.
the record, please.
Second, all in favor, aye? Aye.
Hi.
Passes 3-0. Thank you.
I'll still try to be here Thursday.
Okay,
But if I'm not, you two have.
Yeah, we're good.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you. Of course.
So. I was asked last meeting to kind of come back with some options. So I came back this week to probably propose 3 different options to you. Option 1 is to stay as is. So that would be the top chart that you see there, which is our current thing, which is the $32,013. That shows you the breakout of all that stuff. And that's where we're currently sitting. Me and this microphone aren't agreeing very well. The second box here, I'm gonna call it option 2. What option 2 does is take our on-site superintendent, or Todd, down to halftime. If you wonder why that number is not 80 and it's 96, because of how the month breaks out, there's actually 3 weeks that he would be here in the month of December, because it's the first week, the third week, and the last week in the month of December. And the thought process behind this, the month of December, we're going to be focusing on putting together the stuff for Jody and our case that Todd and I will be doing together. That includes going through all of his raking reports and all the things that he's done to kind of put together some timelines for Jody and stuff. So Todd would be here when I'm here, okay? So that we could be working together to get that stuff done. That's how option 2 was. To the right of that, I just wanted to show you something. This is my hours last week, which, so right now, I bill for only the weeks I'm here. So that's half my time a month. So last week I wasn't here, but I wanted to show you how many hours I worked on Woodbury last week that weren't billed. Because the third option I was asked to give you was kind of an hourly breakdown. And so I spent some time trying to figure that all out to try to come back with you with what I thought was viable. And quite frankly, I'm not sure that it becomes hard to track and it becomes something that could become argumentative. So I'd like to kick it over to you guys to ask questions or do anything or to look into it. So I ran the numbers for right now, for the month of December, if I went to hourly, based on what I worked last week and what I work when I'm here, and everything else, and that number is $36,880. Okay, so it's actually $4,000 more than what you're paying me for. I can gladly pass out, if you want to take another document, I can gladly pass out that piece as well, Ron, but it didn't seem like a,
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
so as you can see, I went through there, if you wonder what, sorry, get back in front of the microphone. If you wonder why, it's right here. I'm trying to find it in this. If you wonder why the number would go up, just with what I worked last week, which isn't what a normal week looks like. It was actually short. Ron and I didn't talk as much as we do, but I did meet with Jody. If you look at this, and I was meeting with Kevin, we were meeting to almost 10 o'clock last night, walking through stuff. I have Dale coming this week for other things that we're trying to fix out to the jail. So those meetings when I'm here, I basically looked at it as 22 hours a week when I wasn't here and 50 hours a week when I am here. And I felt that was fair. I mean, I was on the phone Sunday for about 2.5 hours on these things. So if you wonder how I got to 158 hours, that's how I did it. Just basically took what I work on an average week when I'm here. So option 3, besides causes me more issues to track, I don't want to start there. That's not the relationship we've had the whole time, but I will do whatever you want. So again, I'll kick it over to somebody else for asking me any questions you want.
Questions from anyone?
Thanks for getting this, Shane. My only question is on we'll call it the lower left box with kind of the breakdown of the new hours. The on-site superintendent went up 20 or 15 an hour.
Yes, and that's just because in October is when October's the end of our fiscal year, and that's when our raises and stuff come out, so that's how that number is now across our company.
So you didn't get a raise?
What?
You didn't get a raise?
I did, but I didn't feel you needed to pay what my fee changed to. Because you were not, in effect, Mark, you were not changing what my time was.
Sure.
Okay, so if you look, the mileage rate went up too because I charged you the rate of what it was when it
Current rate,
started,
yeah.
not what the current rate is that we're being reimbursed
Yep.
for.
Yep.
So if we stayed as is, I left it as is. You also, if you notice, I don't charge you for food either. So I don't charge you the per diem because I never have. I've always just included that. So I didn't charge you for that either, okay? Because I have not ever.
Yep.
But if you look at the last one that I handed out, if you take me to strictly hourly, it is on there now, okay? but I did not raise my rate. Okay?
Yep.
I tried to make this simple and I felt fair, so I mean, I'm willing to do whatever you want and open this up for whatever else you want for the discussion, but
What are you recommending, or what are you proposing?
right now, what my recommendation would be was to take the new proposed monthly cost, option 2, and run that for the month of December. Later on in December, we're going to have a meeting on December 30th, okay? I think we need to, on December 30th, look at maybe it's going to change to something else, and we can talk about that before it happens. Sorry, Dan, but my world is I need to see where Todd and I are with the stuff that we're putting together for Jody. And when I get to my update with where we are with the stuff from Entroba and all that stuff, Dan, so I would like to, I don't want to speculate and give you, I think this would be a good place to start for 1 month. It does what you asked of me. I give you options. I don't think option 3 is a good choice.
So I have a question.
Yes, sir.
We just spent a good part of this day before we came in here. We didn't even take time for lunch. We went out and grabbed some sandwiches and continued to work through the lunch hour. If in proposal 2, you're gonna cut Todd's hours and we need him beyond that, that would put him on an on-call basis. Do we then expect, because we've cut his hours, that he would be required to meet with us and do the things we need to do because it's on an on-call basis, or how are we gonna handle that?
So I think that's a great problem that's going to happen. It could happen in the month of December. The difference, the on-call basis right now, because Todd's going to be with us for each week, okay? Each week I'm here for the month of December. So for meetings like today, Todd would be here for all those meetings. But for weeks that I'm not here, Todd would not be here. Okay, so if
So-
we need Todd to do something, that would have to be an on-call fee that we would have to work out with Todd because you can't have somebody on call because he's gonna go do something else for a job. I mean, he's gonna go find something else to do.
That's my concern. Part of what he was doing today was working with photos and a lot of other things that had been put on record a couple years ago. I mean, way back to the time that our precast panels fell. I'm concerned, whatever you decide, okay? But I'm concerned that he's here when you're here, but if we need something from him in the weeks that you're not here, we're not gonna get it. And that's gonna stop the process that we need to have working with Jody till you're here the following week, and I'm not sure that's gonna work out good. I'm not sure I agree with that option.
Well, my thought is, I mean, we're looking at a lot of completion work in December, correct?
Yeah.
And I'm not really in favor of cutting anyone's time in half because they rely on their income, at least I do. So I think we should just try to get through the month of December and reevaluate it at the end of the month or the first part of the year. Because I'm a little bit with the chair on this one. But just cutting it in half and saying this is what it is, and then you're on call or whatever you work out, you're gonna end up working full-time anyway. So I think we should just, and try to work through these completion, all the items you have for completion, work on those
That's really good.
for the month of December.
So I could tell you, this is kind of blending into my update. In the last week, we had 17 warranty items added to the list. The list has grown from last meeting of 141. We're now up to, from 121 to 141 with an 80% completion rate, which is great. And but everything else, but we're gonna be adding in, we just got the balancing report back from Introba for review.
Okay.
Which causes those contractors to have to come out for some re-inspections and some testing and stuff, Dan. And to your point, there could be a bunch of work and we need to get that done. Because that's on our final completion list that we've been here for the whole time.
I guess personally, I think, Kenny's gonna handle a lot of that warranty stuff and some of this other stuff. I think not only do we need to see some hours cut from the superintendent, but I'd like, probably the project coordinator and executive too. I think I like the second option the best. I wish it carved out a little bit more, but I might be the lone ranger on this today. I will probably be voting at least for the second option or against any other option, but in my opinion, we need to be fiscally responsible, and I think that there are some cuts that can be made. So,
Well, and to that point, Mark, I'm leaning toward that as well, but I'm trying to balance it maybe a little bit more, so if you notice a little bit change of position that I'm taking, at least for December, it's just because of the amount of work that we've got. It's been a tough decision for me. I've given it a lot of thought. I'm glad you asked Shane for the options that would be available to us. That's good to have that in front of us because it helps me a lot. But I'm just thinking we're probably at a critical time right now, middle of November. We've got 6 weeks, and I'm really counting on Shane, and he knows this. I'm really counting on Shane to really complete as much as you can within that time period. And I know there are going to be things that are unmanageable, but, and I'm very open to revisiting it, Mark, but I don't want you to think that, I had strong feelings about it, but now I'm really I just want to reevaluate and try to just do the right thing. And I respect your position because you've said that from the beginning. You've been very consistent from the beginning, and I appreciate that. So it may be a split vote today, but I guess that remains to be seen. I just am not comfortable with just cutting somebody to half-time, really. So,
Any other conversation?
I don't think so.
Okay, hearing none, I make a motion that we continue with option number 1 and Shane's proposal for today, and that be for the month of December, and we reevaluate this a month from now.
Okay, I'll second that.
All in favor, aye? Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Gotta do okay. Did you say hi, Mark? I didn't.
no, I'm waiting for him to say all opposed.
All opposed, I'm
Aye.
sorry.
2-1.
Passes 2-1. Thank you. We'll reevaluate it a month from now. All right, item number 6 on our agenda today is information and update on the LEC project. And again, I'd call on Shane Albrecht for that, please.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Kevin Ross to come up to the thing. So right now, for where everybody is, we still have 12 items left on our list that's out there.
Right.
We've walked through it. Some of those items we reduced, 3 of them we reduced in value. So our value right now of our outstanding items is 119 or 117?
$119,000 worth of unfinished punch list items are to complete out there, so let's go ahead, Shane.
So we sent that. We also reviewed Hausman's pay request 36R3. Pay request 36R3 was signed by Kevin yesterday, and that will be in the amount of like $17,564.
Correct.
So that will be put out for approval on the December 3rd meeting. And what that does is that gets all of our line items on our base bid contract 100% paid out.
Minus the retainage.
minus the retainage.
Yeah.
How much was that amount again, Shane?
$17,564.
Thank you.
And yeah, just to be clear on that too, Houseman had requested all of their retainage, all but 126,000, I think, of the retainage be released of that 3 million, almost 3.1 million in retainage. I think Jody could probably speak more in detail about that, but we don't feel it's appropriate at this time to release that amount of retainage, so.
I can speak to that for a second. So again, this is going to come up on our December 3rd meeting, but part of that pay app is the request for early release of retainage. And right now, we have two 573 claims on file by subcontractors. We have one from Suter, CW Suter, and we have one from Poly Jail. And per Iowa law, us as the authority need to retain from the retainage, withhold from the retainage 200 amount of those claims.
200%.
200%, thank you. 200% of those claims. And so 200% of those claims well exceeds the 3.063 million in retainage that we have. So I can pull those, CW Suter's claim is approximately $1.4 million. And then Poly Jail's claim is,
700 some thousand.
yeah, approximately 700,000. So when you, 200% of those claims is well above our 3.063 million of retainage. So my recommendation is that we reject fully the request for early release of retainage pursuant to Iowa law, under which we have to continue to withhold those claims.
And so, yeah, that's, we modified the pay application to reflect that, and the county and the authority still has that retainage being withheld until those things are satisfied, so.
Jody, if you would please, for those in the room that don't understand what a 573 claim is, could you just give us a brief overview of what that is, please?
Yeah. So in public projects here, the authority under Iowa law withheld 5% from every pay app, which is what we call our retainage. And the main purpose of that is for the protection of the subcontractors. And pursuant to Iowa law, subcontractors can file claims against the retainage that we hold. So in public projects, subcontractors can't file mechanics liens, but you file claims against the retainage. And so that's done under Iowa Code Chapter 573. So Suter and Poly Jail have filed these claims against the retainage under 573. And so we're holding that. We have to continue to withhold that in 200% of those claims.
Thank you.
And they filed those because,
Well, Poly Jail's claim is solely the retainage that they're owed. And then Suter's claim is a combination of retainage, which we haven't paid out, so it's not expected that Houseman would pay out retainage to its subs. But Suter's claim is both for the retainage, but also for additional amounts that Suter is claiming they haven't been paid by Houseman.
so they're filing these claims because Hausman hasn't paid them?
Suter's assertion is that of that $1.4 million, there's retainage that hasn't been paid that would be expected, but then there's other amounts that they haven't gotten paid. Do one of you gentlemen know the breakdown?
I don't have that in front of me, no, I
I think
don't.
it's,
Their retainage is $656,000.
okay. So that's the retainage from Suter. The rest of the amount are non-retainage amounts that Suter's position is they haven't been paid from Houseman. It's a good question. Thanks, Mark.
Okay. So what else we've been looking at? There's some just leaks on the back of the cells. We got some water coming out of the stainless steel fixtures. Willoughby has been notified, and Jim Bernanen, or however you pronounce it. Brennan, thanks, Todd. Jim Brennan is going to be coming from Willoughby out to look at them. So for anybody that doesn't know, the fixtures are stainless steel and they're welded. So if it's a issue, it's a factory issue and will be corrected at no cost to the authority. It's just getting these issues pointed out and getting them fixed. Todd, could you come up to the microphone too with Kevin, please? Sorry for not calling you earlier, sir. We've been running around. There has been an odor in the building that you guys have been working on, and some door pressurization issues.
Correct.
Okay? adjusted and sped up closures, different things like that. Accurate's been out there doing stuff. Building services, of course, Mark has been doing a lot of that stuff too. You've been working in conjunction with Kenny, and everything's been going pretty good there.
Yes.
So again, our target was to try a two-week transition period as we talked, to get most of that stuff over to Kenny, minus the stuff that we've been doing for making phone calls. Poly Jail came out to adjust some doors, work on some glass and some different things just last Friday. So there's a number of tasks going on, as well as, right now, some of these things that are open for the 12 items really isn't hard to get completed. Kevin sent back stuff, we're waiting on a warranty, which supposedly was just down to somebody completing the right form, okay? We're also waiting for a seismic bracing report.
Correct.
We got one, but it's just the deficiencies that somebody needed to correct, not the as-built of what was corrected. So that's basically what we're waiting for there. We've been waiting for the Centroba thing, which we got, so we're able to get that out. That we feel is causing some of the problems with the odor, as well as causing some of the problems with the door pressure issues, is because these areas aren't set up quite negative like they're supposed to be, causing the doors to have problems opening and shutting. Basically, we're down to 3 exhaust fans, EF1, EF2, and EF3, that need to be balanced correctly. Now, let's make sure everybody understands. EF3 has like 96 openings hooked to it. So it's not just like one fan, one opening. I want to make sure you understand that. EF1 has over 100 different openings that hook for it. A lot of them aren't in question. EF1 serves the county attorney's space, the court space, sheriff's office space, booking and intake. The transition piece that does booking and intake is the one there that's in question because it isn't providing the right numbers. So that's one of the things that we've been waiting for Introba to get back to us. Corey put a lot of work into this. He's the one that drafted a lot of the comments, a lot of the things. Had a meeting with Mark last week. Mark Schaefer from Introba, sorry. Make sure everybody knows who that is, since we've been talking about this guy for so long. Maybe we mean Mark Nelson, but no, we mean Mark Schaefer. And Mark Schaefer got us out yesterday, end of the day, their official review of a test and balancing report. What that means is we're gonna have a meeting next week with Suter to come with next steps. So it's not done. It has corrective measures to it that include putting door pressure switches, sensors on insides of the day room doors to try to figure out what's going on with this. Because Todd, right now we probably have 4 or 5 day room doors that are causing issues.
Yeah, for safety and security reasons, I would rather not
Okay,
discuss that in an open meeting.
okay, thank you.
I think part of the issue is that Suter went back out and double checked some of the things based on the recommendations by RCE and Introba. They found no blockages in some of the ductwork. We are losing pressure out there. So I think part of the next steps is going to be to have Suter go out there and pressure test some of this ductwork to find out where it's leaking at, if it is indeed leaking, so we can give corrective measures on that as well too. So again, it's been a joint effort. We're just trying to circle the wagons to get this thing done.
And they did rebalance AHU3, the new coil, so that is balanced now.
So is what we have from Introba the last things that we need, or are we gonna need more from them yet?
I think it's depending on what the results of the next field testing is with that exhaust ductwork, if there's leakages in there or not.
I feel we're gonna need one more thing from Introba. Introba's gonna have to, RCE will comment first, but we have to have a meeting next week to get balancing professionals back out and Suter out to get the answers that we need to Introba, so we can get the final thing done with whether it's the exhaust fan is not sized correctly or whether there's too much duct leakage. That's the question right now, Mark. It's
So
either.
you gotta eliminate the duct leakage first,
Right.
before you know if that exhaust fan is right or not.
Yes. So that's what I feel we've made good strides. So I was excited at our report, seeing where we are. because we've corrected a lot of the deficiencies. What we're down to right now is the exhaust fan the right size or not? And we got, and Corey believes it is, but we need to check then for duct leakage because it's not obstructions.
Sure.
Okay?
That makes sense.
Any other questions for me or Todd or Kevin?
Have none. Thank you. All right, item number 7 on our agenda today is public concerns. Seeing or hearing none, we'll move to item number 8, which is authority board member concerns. Either of you gentlemen have anything you'd like to speak about?
I want to congratulate Mark on being elected to the Board of Supervisors. Congratulations on a good campaign that you ran and being successful.
You guys are gonna have to put up with me for probably another 4 years now, so. But thank you, Dan, I appreciate that.
That'll be easy to do.
It'll be handled.
We
well,
won't,
Dan.
we won't be on opposite ends of boats very often. Well, the other thing would be the courts and coming into the LEC. They're moving in on December 2nd, and I hope that's a smooth, at least that's what I've been told. I hope that's a smooth transition for you all. Did you want to say anything about that, or?
Yeah, we're planning to go.
Good.
Is it on? Peg Farrix, DCA. Yes, as far as we know, December 2nd, we're ready to go. Movers are coming the 26th to move everything from the old to the new. And it'll be some changes. We'll have to be flexible, but yeah, everyone's ready to go. Training was yesterday and today on the technology, so.
Good, good. And just for an update, because it might affect some of your operations, I'm still working on the transportation questions that we have to the LEC,
Okay,
public transportation. So
sounds good.
we just need to keep moving on that, but we've got some good ideas. We really had a good idea from Potawatomi County and how they work the system, because they don't have that many to transport to or from. So that's kind of what's holding us up a little bit. But you'll hear more about that, I guess, from
All
the
right.
city council.
Sounds good.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Ron.
Anything else? All right, with that, we'll move on to item number 9. I make a motion that we go into closed session with Frederickson and Byron Law Firm under Iowa Code Chapter 21.51C.
Second?
All in favor, aye? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Thank you, everyone.
Didn't have to be a roll call, did it?
Yes, it did.